Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is MoneyBoy Tr3y, and this is another episode of My Art Perspective. I am here with Authoress Rebe. She is joining me.
Hello.
We're going to talk about what's been going on in social media these past couple of days. All the hot topics. But first, Rebe, let them know who you are once again.
Hi, my name is Authoress Rebe. I'm an independent author from Memphis, Tennessee. I have 3 books that I've written. The Diary of a Freak SEXcapades series. I'm also a certified sexuality coach that deal with sexual dysfunction, that deal with gender identity, and also safer sex initiative to give people a responsibility and accountability when engaging in sexual practices. My books deal with sex, but they deal with safe sex. And I'm also here to talk about things from a parent perspective because I have 3 grown children and a granddaughter. So, hello, everybody.
What's the first topic you want to get into today, darling?
Well, for me, the first topic I think we need to talk about, because it's still going to go with the parenting, and I want to discuss today about the whooping. The spanking. And I know you and I differ on when it comes to spanking and discipline. And as you grow, you learn different ways and styles of discipline. But as I watched the video of the parent spanking her child at school, I've been that mother. My son acted up. The school called me. He was in the auditorium, and I went right in that auditorium and whooped that ass. Now, the nigga calling and the rough talk, no, did I do that? No, but I have done it behind closed doors. So we never know what that parent has been testing with the child, how many whippings and spankings that she's already had to give that child, how many punishments, how many things she's taken away from that child. So when you're called off your job, and you're already trying to provide as a single parent, as a single mother, and when you're providing for these children, there's a certain way you expect for them to act at school. And my children knew if I had to get called off my job, I'm gonna beat your ass wherever you act up at. So I kind of feel her on that, but the filming is what I disagree with. The filming, I disagree.
That lady didn't have no damn job. She came up there with 2 friends.
But who's to say she doesn't work? We don't have that proof.
We don't, but I mean, I can't say she was called off her job because she came up there with 2 friends. Well, okay,
but we never know. The friends could have been the ride. We don't know. But my thing is, don't make a mockery and a spectacle of social media and give them a reason to put a hand in your parents.
Okay, so do you realize that whooping your child is a form of trauma as well as assault?
I'm not traumatized. My mother probably did assault me, but damn it, I knew how to have values and respect for myself and as well as my mother, because she broke her neck for me. And if I did something outside of what the rules were set, I knew then I'm either get my ass beat or I'm not gonna be able to go outside. So it goes, to me, the punishment needs to fit the crime. And I can't tell a parent to spank or not spank, because we had corporal punishment in school.
You see, they took corporal punishment out of school, right?
And when they took corporal punishment out of school, to me, they stripped the teachers of power and the parents of power, because they let these children know that it's a system right here that says they can't whoop your ass. So you can act a donkey, you can cuss out the teacher, you can slap your teacher, you can throw spitballs in their hair, you can put text in their chair, you can do all this shit at school to a person that's taking the time out to educate you for your future. You can degrade them, demoralize them, treat them like they nobody, and nothing happens. I don't like that. Pulling them out of school, to me, is keeping them away from class time to where they can be learning. So giving them a suspension, to me, is only giving them free range at home to get on the parents' nerves, to where the parent got to find a daycare or a child care you know what I'm saying, or leaving them at home by themselves because mom and daddy got to go to fuck to work. So I feel like they should stay in school, but get that ass toe up. That's just my opinion.
I want to address a couple of things you said. You said that they took corporal punishment out to schools and they gave the kids free range. Why is it okay for a complete stranger that may be upset with you to whoop you? Why you feel that that was okay? As a complete stranger, that principal or that teacher could have been mad as fuck when they beat your ass and gave you all the strength in the world and whooped you. That's the first thing I want to go back on. Go ahead and answer that fuck.
Let's answer that question. That goes back to that child got a parent too. If you feel like that administrator has whooped you and left your hand bruised and swollen or your butt to where you can't sit down, that's where you got a parent to come in and step in and say, hey, do you feel like that was too harsh? You know what I'm saying? You whooping them too hard. But at the end, I'm listening.
What if the parent whoops you the same way? You still got adults beating the hell out of kids to where they leave marks at. Is that not assault?
A switch gonna leave a mark regardless of whoever get hit with it. It ain't gonna kill you.
That's why I said it's trauma and assault. You said you're not traumatized.
I didn't die. I'm gonna tell you what is traumatizing.
Go ahead.
Extension cords. I don't agree with extension cords because that is to me abuse.
I've been whooped with extension cords.
But my sister got whooped with a water hose. Fucking abuse. You know what I'm saying? To me, that was abuse. A frying pan, abuse. But at the end of the day, when you wasn't taught properly how to discipline and whoop your children, you do the best that you can to get them in subjection to say, I am the parent and you're going to listen to me. All parents are not right just because they're mother and daddy. Some of them be with the fuck shit too. And that's why we have child abuse laws. And we have laws to protect the children from abuse. But spanking, time out, all of that is still a punishment. Your child could say, well, you took my game from me. I hate you. Now I want to cut your head off. Because we seen the white boy kill his mama over Xbox.
Somebody's saying we're getting feedback. Let me see if I can cut it down. Are you still getting feedback now, Davina?
Yeah.
You said you're not traumatized, but you remember it. That is a form of trauma. Anything bad that happened to you that you can remember is trauma.
My spanking wasn't bad and them licks at school wasn't bad. It was funny to me that we can talk about it now to say we cut class. I cut class and got my ass tore up. I got the licks. I got the choice to say in my hand or on the boot. I took them on my booty because they didn't hurt on the boot. And I knew I needed to be able to write, so I'd rather get my licks on my butt. But at the end of the day, I knew right from wrong. So at what point do you hold the children accountable and responsible for the stuff they do?
Rebe, cut your mic down a little bit. They said they're getting feedback on your end when you speak.
Okay, maybe I need to take the headphones off. Is that better?
Okay, let's see. I'm waiting on them to comment. You can read the comments on the side, can't you? Can't you see the comments?
Mm-mm.
You don't see the comments on your side? Okay.
No.
I
maybe
gotta
I
wait
need
for
to
them
cut the chat.
Yeah, you gotta cut the chat on, I believe.
Oh, okay, but now I don't see you.
How about it now, Davina? Can you still hear feedback? Somebody asked, are we banging?
No, we're not.
MC Jabin, I don't know how to pronounce that shit. So are you under the belief that a child cannot be a well-developed, contributing member of society without having their ass whooped?
No, I'm not under that belief because it's like I said, when you learn better, you do better. So I had 2 other children. My first child got spanked for everything he did. So I had 2 other children, and I had to learn that spanking didn't help them. It put fear in my boy child, but my daughter didn't give a fuck about a whooping. she used to come home and say, go on, whoop me and give me my phone. So I had to learn, okay, this ain't working. So now I need to take some stuff away. I need to restrict some activities. So at that point, we signed contracts because I needed them to know that I mean business and y'all got a job to do. And your job is to go to school, get your education. Don't bully other children. Don't give the teacher, a hard time because they're there to help me while I go provide. They're providing you this free education and you're going to do what the fuck they say do. See, my children knew that auntie, uncle, grandmama, any adult was able to discipline my children because I had to go to school and I had to work. So I couldn't say you can keep my children, but you can't discipline my children.
I understand.
I couldn't say that and be okay with it because that would have had them running all over grandmama that's a little older now, auntie that, you know what I'm saying, don't whoop her kids. My sister didn't spank. She didn't believe in spanking in her kids, but she verbally abused her children because they got yelled at for everything. So anytime she raised her voice, they was jumping in fear. You know what I'm saying? So to me, anything that's repetitively done can be trauma. You don't have to ever touch them to traumatize them. I was verbally abused. We was bitches and hoes and all type of shit. But you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, spanking to me should be left up to the parent because we all know what our children need and require. I don't feel like stripping their power at the home, benefited some children. I just don't. I've had a child call DCS to say they was gonna call DCS because I had a belt. But when I went to parenting class and they said I could spank them on the buttocks with a strap, that's what we gonna do. That's what the law said I could do. So I went to learn my boundaries within this law so I can parent and discipline my children without DCS coming to rob them away from my love, my care, taking them somewhere where they can be further abused because my daughter spent 6 months in youth villages at 11 and 12 years old learning stuff that she shouldn't have learned because she was in there with 16 and 17-year-olds who already were problem children who had been abused, children who had been in gangs, children that were sexually active. So now my daughter is introduced to lesbianism. She's being touched inappropriately. So it's a lot of things in the system that are broken. Am I still getting feedback?
I hadn't seen any comments about it.
Cause see, I need to go on here and I guess I need to check the live chat because I can't see it coming up on your YouTube channel either.
Okay, well, I tagged you in the link on Facebook, so you got a laptop or something, you can probably pull it up and see it. Do you agree that it's assault? Because if the teacher had whooped that child like that, it would have been called assault. If a neighbor would have whooped that child like that, it would have been called assault. If the police would have done it, it would have been called police brutality and assault. And lastly, if another kid had hit that child like that, it would be considered assault. So do you think that spanking is considered assault, given that it's considered assault everywhere else except for when the parent does it?
That's why they call it child abuse or child neglect, because it's happening from a parent to a child. So the child abuse laws in effect to prevent us from going overboard, but some of the laws that are in effect to me still make us ineffective as parents. It still strips you of your authority.
So you're saying it's not abuse when the parent does it, but if anybody else does it, it's assault.
No, I didn't say that. I said we have child abuse laws in effect for parents.
I know. I need you to answer the question though. Do you think it is an assault? Because if anybody else would have done it, and I named 4 people that had done this, it would have been considered assault. So why is it not assault when the parent does it? Actually, that mom has had her kids removed by CPS, all 4 of them, because they considered it assault.
I didn't see it as assault. I saw that it could have been an overkill and a poor judgment on their mother's part to be that abuse, her language and the dialect when she was spanking him. Had she, not has been so aggressive and showed more anger, I think it wouldn't even been considered assault. See, to me, assault would have been if he had bruises and open wounds and open cuts from her hitting those pants. Cause some of those their licks didn't even get landed on his butt.
But do you agree if the teacher had done it, that teacher would have been charged with assault?
If the teacher had spanked that child like that and talked to that child like that, then we would have had some issues with the language. Now, I don't disagree with corporal punishment. I don't disagree.
I'm speaking in legal terms. I'm saying in legal terms, if that teacher
you're trying to force me to say that I feel like they would have been assaulted.
I'm not. I'm asking you, do you agree with the definition of assault? Because if that lady had done that to your child, anybody would have been like, I'm calling the police, this bitch and assaulted my child. Be real now.
With the language, not the spanking in itself, with calling my child a nigga, and with saying, you little nigga, you gonna do this. That's what made that's the problem for me. The spanking itself wasn't the issue, because we can raise Chucky, Freddy Krueger, Jason, and Michael Myers. We have all four of them in one. And as a mother, you got to get some control over your child, because they're going to end up a statistic. They're going to end up out here dead by police brutality, or a nigga in the street going to come up and kill them. So my thing is, if I can't beat their ass, what makes the police feel like they can whoop their ass and kill them?
It's several people in jail that got their ass whooped though, so it's not actually that hadn't been ass whoopings haven't proved to been effective, because we all got somebody in our family that got their ass beat and they still are in jail for doing stupid shit. But let me read you the definition of assault for you and for the people that's listening, so we won't keep running around this word. An assault is the act of inflicting physical harm or unwanted physical contact upon a person, or in some specific legal definitions, a threat or attempt to commit such an action. It is both a crime and a tort, and therefore may result in either criminal and or civil liability. So if that teacher or neighbor or another child did that to your kid, would that not be considered assault?
If two children fighting,
it's assault.
It's a fight.
It's assault. Can't somebody get arrested for it? If two adults doing it, can't somebody get arrested for it?
Just because it's allowed, that doesn't mean it's right. Slavery was allowed, that didn't mean it was right. Slavery was legal.
So what what would you do if an adult came up and fired on you? And the police pulled up?
I'm gonna throw them hands back.
And you press
charges.
But
I ain't gonna press charges. I'm gonna beat their ass.
Wouldn't one or both of y'all be charged with assault?
That's because that's the law. But just because it's a law doesn't make it right. The punishment gotta fit the crime. When have you known growing up? Listen,
I'm not asking if it's right or wrong.
Can I talk?
Yeah, but understand, I'm not asking if it's right or wrong. I'm asking by definition, is it assault?
By definition, by law, I don't agree with the fucking law, because
at the end, I just need you to say yes or no. I just need you to say yes or no.
You got it. So you got the definition.
But I need you to answer. I need you to answer. Is it assault? Yes or no?
By definition, yes.
Okay, go ahead with your speech.
But you said, wait a minute, hold up. You said they were causing harm. You said assault is attempt to cause harm. What harm did that parent do to him besides crush his ego and hurt his feelings?
She hit him.
Did she break skin? Physical harm. Physical harm. Define physical harm.
Or unwanted physical contact. He didn't want his ass whooped.
He's a child. He don't even know how to fucking wipe his ass right. So he don't know what he want at this point in life. I know he didn't want the teacher to call his mama either.
Yes.
So my thing is, the punishment has to fit the crime. And just because they sit back and make a law, it doesn't mean that that law is fair and that that law is right.
But it's still assault.
By definition. Well, you said to cause physical body harm. Wait a minute. If I heard you right, you said assault is an act of unwanted touch to cause physical contact, bodily harm.
Yes, bodily harm is being hit. That's why people can get hit in the eye, call the police, and they arrested for assault.
No, if you got people that done got to fight, listen, if you got people that has gotten into an altercation and gotten into a fight, if nobody got scratches or a black eye, they're going to tell you motherfuckers to depart ways and go on about your business and don't come back. See, it becomes bodily harm when you have physical scars.
That's in domestic violence situations.
That's in a situation I've been in myself where I almost went to jail. I'm speaking from experience.
I went to jail and I'm still fighting a case currently for aggravated assault, and I didn't talk to this person.
Aggravated assault meaning you had a weapon of some sort, right?
I did not talk to this person or see this person, and I still went to jail, and I'm currently fighting a case for aggravated assault.
So basically, you have an issue with it because you're fighting the case for aggravated assault that was a wrongful arrest.
No, I have an issue with it because I went through it, and I can recall me being a kid telling my mama I was gonna call the police, and her response was, "When I get out, I'm gonna do it again." So parents know this shit is assault. They know they can go to jail for it because her response was, "When I get out, I'm gonna beat your ass again." And I also realized that it traumatizes kids. I'm in my 30s and I can still remember every ass whooping I got. I can't remember the hugs and shit I got. Can't remember what I got for birthdays, but I can remember every ass whooping I got. I am traumatized by that today. It's trauma.
I never had a birthday party. You know what I'm saying? My family never showed open love like that. My mom told me she loved me for the first time when I was 18 years old. But what she was a hard-working woman that provided me a roof, a shelter, and my needs were met. I had the best of everything I could think of, material-wise. But when it came to her parenting style, she parented me how she grew up being parented. So a lot of it goes back to religious beliefs and goes back to the family dynamic and the culture and climate in the family, things that have been passed down from generation to generation. Do I agree with my grandfather beating them with a plow strap? Hell no, that's abuse. Overkill. But what I'm saying is taking a switch off the tree because you done told Lil Junior to stay his ass out the street 3 times before a car run him over. Because if Lil Junior go in that street and get ran over by a car, the state gonna want to come take your kids because they gonna want to say you wasn't watching Lil Junior. But you done told Lil Junior.
You can't be watching Lil Junior if you had to tell him 3 times not to go in the street. You can't be watching him.
Yes, you can. I was standing there watching my son on top of a glass table, told him, get the fuck off this table. Every time he still climbing his ass up on the table. Guess what happened? He fell through that motherfucker before I could catch him and grab him off the table. So what I'm saying is children do stuff.
Has he stood on that table again?
He got the fuck back. No.
He ain't stood on that table no more.
It wasn't no motherfucking table to stand on again because he broke that motherfucker. What I'm saying is you can be watching them. I had balls on my windows. I had alarms on my windows. Guess what my daughter did? Disconnected the whole motherfucking system. And it rang to my phone saying, window 2 is ajar. Window 2 alarm deactivated. I'm waking up out my motherfucking sleep. Like, what the fuck going on? She done took the whole goddamn system.
How old was she?
14, 13 or 14.
So she had been getting her ass whooped prior to this happening, right?
No, I hadn't touched her since she was 11.
But I'm saying she had ass whoopings up, and she was 14. She had ass whoopings in her life.
She had her last butt when at 9.
So does that mean that they were effective then? If she was getting ass whoopings up to 9, and 5 years later, without you having to whoop ass, she was still making poor decisions, doesn't that kind of show that ass whoopings don't work?
I should have
The
kept
kids
beating
are
that
gonna do what they
ass.
want to.
I should have kept beating that ass. I should have kept beating that ass.
It don't work.
It worked. My sons got their last whoopings in their teens, like 15, 16. Didn't have no problem.
I think my last whooping, my mom, it was probably like she tried to whoop me at 13 or 14. I was like, look, we're gonna have to come up with something else. I'm not about to lay down and let you whoop me. I'm sorry. We got to come up with something else to do. But
I got my last whooping at 16 years old. My mom actually opened the window and said, "Bitch, since you want to leave, go out this way." We was on a 2-story townhouse. She beat my ass and said, "If you want to leave, leave like this." I looked down. I said, "Hell no," to myself. I'm like, "Shit, I ain't going out the window, so I'm finna take this ass whooping."
That's abuse there, because that's abuse there.
But she did what she had to do because, Mama tell you, I was disrespectful. I deserved that whooping because I was toe-to-toe with my mom and telling her she was wrong. I didn't cuss at her, but I told her she was wrong, and I told her I was leaving anyway. I didn't care what she said. I'm finna go.
I'm talking about the part where she told you to leave out a window. That's abuse.
Yeah, but I'm still standing today.
You gotta say, but you could have, but she could have simply opened the door and told you to leave. She could have opened the door and said, "Get your shit."
She wasn't giving me that option because she knew I was gonna go out that damn door. So she gave me an option that was so crazy and far-fetched to know, bitch, how far do you want to go with this shit? Because at the end of the day, my word is gold. And if I say you ain't leaving my house, then you want to go that bad, take the bad ass out the window.
It's abuse.
In your eyes. In my eyes, it was my mama saying, "You ain't finna go out at 10 o'clock at night to meet up with a nigga and go fuck." And I know you finna go fuck. I'm just being honest.
But telling you to jump out a window is not the proper way to get there.
It probably was proper.
That's in the black community. I gotta say it. We defend everything our fucking mom does. Our mom can do no wrong. They could be the horriblest person in the world.
That's a goddamn lie. I ain't defending no motherfucking ass.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. I said the black community, our moms can do no fucking wrong. We'll talk shit about our dad that wasn't there, but the woman that beat us, cussed us out, called us all types of niggas, neglected us, did all types of shit, can do no wrong. Like, you're defending your mom right now. You don't even realize.
I defended that act because I deserved that whooping at 16.
You didn't. Okay, if you feel you deserve the ass whooping, that's one thing. I'm focusing more on her.
I didn't deserve her to tell me to go jump out no motherfucking window. Hell
that's
no.
That was just
over the top parenting. No,
that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I ain't deserve that. But see, my dad was in my life too. That's what I'm saying. I had a mama and a dad. My dad came to every motherfucking thing I did. My mama didn't. My mama didn't come to shit. That's not true.
I'm just like,
in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I had 2 parents, and my daddy didn't know how to whoop either. I was 6 years old, and he whooped me with this belt that had a shoe on it. I never forget that, because I don't feel like the whooping was warranted. I mean, it wasn't. I hadn't done anything to get that spanking. See, and once we get in our head that we've done something to deserve a certain type of way and a certain type of punishment, then we'll know that we're held accountable and responsible. If their style of parenting was spanking, who am I to tell them at 6 years old, you're not supposed to whoop me? Because that's all we knew was spanking. Bringing our kids into subjection.
And subjection, exactly. That's what slave masters did to us. They beat us into subjecting. Just even the word whoop, we used to get whipped by the slave master, and we whoop our kids, or we whip our kids' ass. But I will never hit my daughter Grayson simply because I will be the first man to ever put hands on her, and I can't do that.
Grayson gonna slap the fuck out of you, and you gonna have to show Grayson you don't hit daddy.
Oh no, yes.
I'm just saying. Then one of them hands come hard as a motherfucker. You gonna forget who Gracie is. I'm just telling you now.
I can reach my kids without hitting them. I used to whoop my boys. I have a 16-year-old, I have an 11-year-old, and a 7-year-old. The 11 and 7-year-old will be 12 and 8 in January, and I haven't whooped these. I told them about 3 or 4 years ago that I was sorry for whooping them and that I would never do it again. And for the past 3 years, I haven't had to put my hand on them. I can talk to my kids, or I can take away the stuff that they like, or I can make them do physical activities that they don't like doing planks and Supermans and bear crawls and running laps and shit. I find alternative ways to reach my kids because I realize that as a 30-something-year-old man, I am still traumatized by the ass whoopings that I get. Now, I wasn't able to, I whooped my boy, like my 7-year-old maybe got 1 or 2, but my 11 and 16-year-old, I was hell on them. And I realized then that they're going to remember the ass beatings that they got. And I also kind of felt the way once I decided I wasn't going to whoop them, looking back how every time they did something, their moms wouldn't whoop them. They would call me to do it as if I'm the punisher or the enforcer. And I didn't want to be like that in my kids' eyes. But for the past 3-4 years, I haven't had to touch them. When they do fucked up shit, I talk to them. I let them know what they did was wrong. And you know what I'm saying? We go from there. If some type of punishment is needed, okay, give me that phone. You can't go
Let me
outside.
ask you this.
Go ahead.
If your child hits you, what you gonna do? If your 16-year-old son look up and found you, what you gonna do? Just call the police and say he assaulted you?
You gotta say, actually, you know what? In my mind state now, back in the day, I probably would have fought him, but I wouldn't have considered that a whooping. I would have called it defending myself because he wanted to fight. But nowadays, yeah, I would, because I let my kids know that there are consequences to shit you do, and in the real world, you go to jail. So if you want to go to juvenile, that's fine. You can go to juvenile. You hit me, that means I haven't done a good job, and it's time for us to it's time for our paths to diverge any damn way. If you got to the point where you want to hit me. So I'm gonna let the system handle you. You don't sit there for a night or two, and if you contrite and apologize, we can move forward.
Let me ask you this. What if he hit you? What if he hits you and you end up with a black eye and you gotta wear this black eye? I'm just asking a question now. You gotta wear that black eye because he said you weak. If he hit you and say, man, you weak motherfucker, and just hit you. So would that change the perspective of just calling the police?
Yeah, because I mean, I am not worried about what a 16-year-old that I created thinks.
Okay, you can honestly sit here and say that your reflexes wouldn't make you hit back.
And what I'm saying, 3-4 years ago, we would have got into it because I used to get him. Me and him used to jack when he would talk sideways to my mama and his mama. We would jack straight up. Okay. But now, no, I can't do that because I mean, I'm also teaching him when somebody says something you don't like or does something to you, that's the only way you're supposed to respond is to fight. And that's not.
No, that's not right either.
But in real life, if there's no response to everything, you end up in jail, you get your ass whooped, or you get shot and killed.
So let me ask you this. When people say put the guns down and fight like they used to, do you agree with it? Because you're saying it's assault. Would you rather them fight it out, look it out, than shoot it out?
We're talking about assault in terms of whooping your child and how it's assault anywhere. If they fighting it out, then if the two people ain't gonna call the police.
Well, you said children at school that fight is assault.
Is in the law's eyes. That's why they have resource officers.
I said in the law. That law.
And when kids do it at school, if the resource officer finds out about it, don't them kids go to juvenile court and are charged with assault?
But that don't mean it's right.
I didn't say it was. I'm just answering your question about two adults. It's still assault if one of them wants to press charges. If two adults out there jacking.
That's what I was saying. The punishment needs to fit the crime. Even as a parent spanking their child, I can't tell them how to govern their household. I can only say what I went through with my 3. And I learned that whenever I stopped spanking my daughter, she felt like mama got weak. And I saw that, you know what I'm saying, as a result of not spanking her. And people could say it's assault, but they didn't walk their walk, and they didn't have a 9-year-old outside with boys thinking she's 16, 17 years old. So at the end of the day, was it effective? Maybe not, because she still snuck out the window. Putting on punishment wasn't effective either.
Yeah, that's what a lot of times we got to realize that kids and people just do what the fuck they want to do.
They want to do.
It's kids that's out here that got whoopers in jail. It's kids that didn't get them that's in jail, and then you got both that are successful. So it's not a thing that's actually proven, but the only thing that I can prove is that it's assault. It's the first form of assault your kid gets, and it's also traumatic. It's a traumatizing event. That's the only thing that I know that I can prove. I can't prove the statistics because there aren't any that says if you whoop your kid's ass, they turn out better. That just doesn't exist.
So you don't curse? Do you curse at your kids?
Not anymore. Not anymore. Oh! This new way of thinking, like I said, only came about 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't know no fucking better though. All I was doing was repeating. All I was doing was repeating what I saw my mom do to me and my brother, and what she said her mom did to her and her siblings. But I do know that my dad I have a sister that's a couple years older than me that's not my mom's kid. She never got a whooping. She's never been to jail before. She never
None of us ever went to jail. You know,
I've been to jail. That's what I'm saying. I've been to jail and I done got my ass whooped. I've been to jail several times.
I went to jail at 37. My mama was deceased when I went to jail. Dad was too. So what I'm saying is, for me, it depends on the child and the parent. Who am I to tell a parent how to parent? We don't have a handbook, but we got laws to tell them children, if mom and daddy do this, call us and we'll remove you from your cushiony bed, from your luxury of having your color television, from getting your hair cut every week, from being able to have a decent meal at home every day with your family. I'll remove you from that and place you in a state facility around other children who may not have had the resources and the lifestyle and the upbringing that you've had, and some may be pedophiles and predators. My thing is the punishment really in the crime? Why couldn't they take the mother and put her in parenting classes to let her know, look, putting this on social media, whooping your child like this with this aggressive language and talk was not warranted. You fucked up. But to remove all of her children and to place them in a state facility to where they can be around other predators, I've seen stories, I've witnessed a story where a child got HIV from a caretaker at youth villages. So my thing is, what makes them be safer in state care? I know children that run away from state care that been to a foster home after foster home because the foster parents are abusing and starving them too. So my thing is, what point do you reteach the parent? If you say this parent was wrong for spanking, then do you not give her that same space and grace to say, look, we're gonna put a state worker in your home. We could come every day to do home visits like they did me. I had to do home visits. And my children, you know what I'm saying, they found that they took my children for no reason, over a lot. But I went through it, and I went through it with my head held high because I knew I was doing the best I could. And I put my own self through the parenting class because I went to court and I had witnesses, doctor records, dental records to show that I was a parent. You know what I'm saying? I was there. I was proactive. I was on the PTA board. I was all this. But because of a lie, they can come just strip your kid. No investigation. You just don't go off of hearsay. But we see the video. If they never seen that video, would they have said, well, this little boy coming to school dressed a certain kind of way, maybe he don't have enough resources, so let's do a home visit to see if his mom may need some help. Did the guidance counselor ever say, well, this little boy is constantly being sent to the office for his behavior. Let's get him tested and see, maybe he may have ADHD. I'm saying,
that doesn't exist. ADHD does not exist. It can't
maybe
be.
To you, it may not exist, but that's the diagnosis that they give.
Scientifically, there is no diagnosis for that. There is no science that can be used to prove that a person has an ADHD. It's subjective. It's simply
it's a medical diagnosis, though.
It is not. That is false. That's why I'm telling you it's false.
It is a medical diagnosis, baby. I got paperwork with that diagnosis.
It can't be proven. It's a subjective diagnosis.
But it's still
a diagnosis. There is no science behind the diagnosis, though. There is no factors that can determine if a child has ADHD or not. It's subjective. That's why more black kids are diagnosed with it than white kids or any other type of race. It's something that they give out for. It's something they came up to diagnose black kids so they can keep them heavily fucking medicated.
White kids been diagnosed with ADHD too.
Not on the same. I said that. I didn't say they didn't. I said it's more black people diagnosed with it than whites. And popular to contrary belief, ADHD, since it's a diagnosis, can be cured without medicine. All people have to do is change their kids' diets. I guarantee if you go look at all these kids who have ADHD, they eat junk food. They eat trash for breakfast, trash for lunch, trash for dinner. Nothing but sugar, refined sugar, and all this junk, which gives them energy and makes them bounce off the damn walls. Can't give your kids waffles and syrup in the morning and then wonder why the fuck they're not sitting down. And then give them a glass of Kool-Aid to swallow it down with. You pumped them up with sugar and then sent them off to school and wonder why they can't sit the fuck down. Yes, we are live with Authoress Rebe Bedford, author of Diaries of a what Diaries?
The Diary of SEXcapades.
Yeah, there we go. Diary Where can they find it at?
On Amazon, www.amazon.com, author/Rebe. It's on Barnes and Noble as well.com. The Diary of a Freak. You put that in there and you can find it there. Or directly through me, my Facebook page, The Diary of a Freak, SEXcapades Diary Book Series. You can get them directly from me and I'll sign them and ship them to you. But I'm coming back to when you were talking about the ADHD thing. I didn't say it was something that we should give them medicine for. I'm just saying that's something that in these school systems and the psychiatrists within the last 5 to 10 years have been diagnosing kids with ADHD. And a lot of those children that I've been around are bored. A lot of them are geniuses who are in school and the work is not challenging enough. And I said it must have been something in the milk, because we laugh and joke to say the Infamil and the Similac must have did something to these 90s babies, because they ass be off the train. You know, I go to my children's school and they be bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, I breastfed all 3 of mine, but I didn't breastfeed my daughter as long. So she was on Infamil and Similac. So my thing is it something in the milk? Is it something to make them overly hyper?
It's all the food and our lack of knowledge of proper diet. And also, shit, they've made making food a lot easier. You know, microwaves didn't come out with us to damn near the end of the 80s. The end of the 80s when we started getting microwaves. I think my grandma got her first microwave like 89 maybe. I can't recall, but it was the late 80s. So
we had a microwave growing up, and it was like in the early 80s. It was the big fat one with the big handle that sat on top of the stove. We had one of those kind of the twist dial type thingy thing. Because my parents believe in Sears, and you know, if you got a counted Sears or Goldsmiths back then, you can get the good shit. So we had every gadget, you know what I'm saying? But we lacked the knowledge to know how to properly train and teach, because a lot of shit that I was taught, I'm de-shedding now. And a lot of stuff that I trickled on to my own children, I have to debunk a lot of that shit with my grandbaby. Children evolve with the times and technology. We didn't have technology. I posted yesterday, if we had Facebook, my mom and dad probably would have been in jail for some of the shit, because we was in the store and got our ass beat in the store. If we fucked up in the store, we got our ass beat in the store.
That's
and
why
by
that lady
law, they
came
would
up
have
to
been
the
in
school
jail.
like that. That's why that lady came up to the school like that, because that's just years and years and years of repeating a stupid ass cycle.
But I've been that stupid ass parent. Then I've done that. But I've been the parent too, to where when I got called off work and I knew my son hated to apologize. So his biggest thing was he didn't want to tell people he was apologetic, he was sorry for what he did. So I said, okay, you're in the 8th grade. I'm gonna make you stand in front of the class and apologize to the teacher in the class, because she can't learn what you want to crack jokes all motherfucking day and want to check everybody. His work be done. He was straight A student, but you want to be the class clown. So let's make you one. So mama came up there and made him stand up there and apologize. And it took him about 10, 15 minutes. But when he saw that belt in my hand and I had said, I apologize for acting a fool. So I didn't whoop him. But he saw that belt.
Kids act out for a reason. They're acting out because they want attention or something. There's always an underlying issue, and that's what one of the things that troubles me is, instead of us trying to find out the underlying issue with our kids, our first solution is beat their ass. Beat their ass.
No. I told you on my last live, we had a contract. We signed contract. And I also gave my children. Wait a minute, listen. I'm just telling you. If they got a whooping, they got that whooping after they told me why. Why you think you can't, why you think you finna get your ass beat, or why you think you should get this whooping? You know what I'm saying? So
my parents
didn't do that to me. No, they didn't do that. They didn't give me a choice as to why I'm getting a whooping. I was the baby, so I didn't get as many whoopings as my siblings did.
So that's why I said that. That's why I said I think a lot of times us as parents and our parents too, instead of figuring out the underlying issue, our first thing is to just whoop ass.
Because that's all we was taught. That's why we said the lack of knowledge is ignorance. And once you learn better, you do better. We should strive to do better and listen, because they're still little people. I had to learn that over the years and had to study these kind of behaviors. They're little people.
But you think ass whoopings are still appropriate, though, after all of that knowledge, research, and trauma?
Depending on the punishment and the child, I still say, if I pull up this house shoe, Victoria know what not the fuck to do. Because she know that little house shoe ain't going to kill her, but that little house shoe puts her in line to say, oh, my grandma mean this. I barely spank my grandbaby, but I have tapped that ass. And I tap that ass because her verbal, she talk back, she don't listen, and grandma get that house shoe. I'm not breaking her skin. I'm not even leaving a mark on her. She's red as shit. Because she's a mixed biracial child. So I don't leave marks on her. Well, I'm assaulting her then, but she's fucking assaulting me when she ain't listening then, goddamn it, because she disturbs my peace. And things could be a little more peaceable if she do what the fuck I say the first time. How many times do you give them a chance to be disobedient?
That's another thing. I also feel like that we beat our kids because it's like, do what I say or I'm going to beat you. And that sets a bad precedent.
No.
Yes, we. You can't say no, we. It's a history of
we
black
as
people.
A whole, but all black people don't do that.
You just said it. You just said if she ain't doing what I say, I beat her ass.
I will spank her. Yes, I do. It's a different than beating somebody. Beating is a term that I use because it's got more. I'm gonna beat that ass. But
We know
technically,
we know what we're talking about. We say beating, so I'm trying to figure out why you disagree when I say that. We be like, okay, you ain't doing what I say, so I'm gonna beat your ass.
Some people are technical to when you say beating, they think of damn beat. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about age appropriate spanking. Because the legal term says spanking, spank your kids. You can spank your kids.
Beating, ass whoopings. A lot of us do it because with the mindset of you ain't doing what I say or what I want you to do, so I'm gonna beat your ass. That's just a bad precedent because people with the kids, all they know is they getting whooped because they ain't do what mama say. So they grow up and they whoop other people because they ain't doing what they say. They fight other people because they ain't doing what they say. They fight their girlfriend or their wife because they ain't doing what I say. You don't do what I say, I'm gonna beat you. That's what goes back to the slavery shit. That's what they did to us. When we didn't do what they wanted us to or what they said, we got our ass beat. And
so me telling my child to keep their shoes at the floor. Get your shoes up at the floor, baby. I done walked past one time. Baby, get your shoes up at the floor. Now at this point, I'm saying that she get on my nerves and waving a little hand then like they don't even give a fuck that the shoes still in the floor. So at what point do you raise your voice and say, get them motherfucking shoes up at my goddamn floor? I mean, I'm just saying, at what point do you put some authority with it to get them to do what you asked them to do? Because I didn't put the shoes in the floor. So these are your shoes that you need to put in their proper place. So rules are in place and that they gotta respect.
My response to that would be the first time I tell them to get the shoes up, I'm going to walk over there with them. I'm going to watch them pick their shoes up and put them up. I don't have to beat them for that.
What I'm saying is by law, spanking is allowed. We may not agree, you may not agree with it, but it's not illegal.
I'm not disputing that. You said at what point do you show some authority?
At what point do you show the authority?
I just answered.
I'm saying I'm talking about as a whole, like mothers, you know, that's what I have to be careful with as a mother.
I answered it. The first time you tell them to pick their shoes up, you stand there with them, you walk them to their shoes, and you make sure they put them up. You don't say it and walk out the room, then come back and see they still there and say it again. Like, you are the parent, so you can ensure that they do it the first time. But we don't. We do lazy parenting. We do lazy ass parenting.
I don't think it's so much as lazy parenting. I think it's a busy parent. I could be going to put something else up, walking on with some clothes, putting it up, then come back, your shoes still in the floor. So
that's an excuse.
It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse because every household is different, though.
Every household is different, but still, we're talking about putting up some shoes. That don't take long to watch a child do that. You said something about walking to drop some clothes off. So what you doing?
I could be doing something else and come back on my way back.
So what you're doing is more important than ensuring that your child does what you says.
Because he should do it when I first say do it. And if I come back and he still didn't do it, then we got a problem.
That's my point. You have to stay there and ensure that they do it.
I shouldn't have to supervise every time for them to do something.
You shouldn't have to whoop their ass every time either, but that seems to be the main result. We do that quicker than we do anything else. We'll whoop ass, but we won't supervise. We'll whoop ass, but we won't talk to them. That's crazy. We want to go to the last step. We want to go straight to the last step instead of doing the individual in between steps. And again, I'm a dad.
Some parents do talk. Some parents do talk.
And that would go back to the ones where we said that sometimes kids just do what the fuck they want to do. Ass whooping or not, kids just gonna do what the fuck they want to do. So if you give them if you talk to them, it don't work. You punish them, it don't work. Give them an ass whoop, it don't work. Then what? You can't keep beating their ass because clearly it's not working.
And clearly the punishment ain't working. So at that point, you realize you got Chuck and Freddy Krueger balled up in one time. So now you at the wit's end to say, what the fuck I done did wrong with this motherfucker? I mean, at the end of the day, as a parent, I say I was a bad parent because I didn't have a roadmap. And I say I was a bad parent because I got all up in that shit. And I was at the school all up in that shit. And if that labels me as a bad parent because I chose to discipline them the way I felt they needed it, then I was a bad parent. So what I tell my children is do better than me with your children.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider it. I wouldn't consider it bad parenting. I would consider it just repeating the cycle of what we were taught.
And at what point can we break the cycle if our kids grown, you break it with your grandchildren? Because I don't have small kids anymore. So now I can do a little better with the grand.
If you still spanking the grandkid though, has the cycle been broken or are you still repeating the same behavior?
That child ain't got a spanking since she was probably 2 with that little house shoe. And it ain't what no whooping to make her cry. I just picked the shoe up the skirt.
Your Honor, could you please instruct Rebe Bedford to answer the question, please?
The cycle is not broken if I'm still putting fear of with the house shoe, no. But that's something that I know she's afraid of.
Ain't no but. Ain't no but.
She's afraid of it, so I'm going to use it. Because when she sees the shoe,
fear is trauma. If you
no,
can remember
not
anything,
all fear is not. So you telling me because I'm afraid to go on a roller coaster?
That's trauma. Something happens to you.
Traumatized.
Yes, it's a form of trauma scientifically, and by
I'm
the definition,
afraid to go on a roller coaster because I don't want that motherfucker to stop and I be stuck at the top.
It's called the
phobia.
But
it's nothing that hunt me. It's not hunting me in my dreams or keeping me woke at night.
It's a phobia, a fear of. If you're fear of something, you're traumatized.
I know what a phobia is. I'm not arachnophobic. I'm not scared of spiders. You know, I'm not traumatized. But some people are.
Like germaphobe, but germaphobes are traumatized by the thought of getting sick if they touch germs. You're traumatized by that. If you get on a roller coaster, that motherfucker might break down and kill you. It's trauma.
I feel like it's up to me to determine what's traumatic for me. I'm not traumatized.
You changed the definition of it.
No, what I'm saying is trauma is to me something that's haunting me and something that's taunting me and something that's got my main focus and preventing me from living a whole, full, fruitful life because this thing is still bothering me. I haven't dealt with this thing. I've been on roller coasters before as a child, but I don't want to ride one as an adult because I see them bitches getting stuck. So yeah, I'm afraid because I've seen that result.
Do you see what you said though? You said me, you said you as in you personally. When I just said that, I said that you're changing the definition. You said no, and then you said me, then you still got back around to what I said in the first place, which is this trauma. You're disturbed by that thought. That thought keeps you in fear, just like your grandbaby. The thought of seeing that shoe, it scares her. It's trauma. It's traumatic. She's scared of it when she sees it. She fears it.
Okay. Yeah. And she gonna keep seeing it. No, I'm saying, but people make traumatic, but everybody makes trauma be bad. That's not what I'm saying. Is when we think of trauma, when I think of trauma, I think about shit that was done to me that was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I need to not.
Yeah, like for me,
categorize all traumatic experiences. They don't have to mean that it was something. They just say it's a fear of something. So on that standpoint, yes, I agree with you. She's in fear of that shoe, of what it can cause and do. So yes, that's trauma. I'll give you that. That's trauma.
As I said about myself, I can remember my ass whoopings that I got, and that's a form of trauma for me. Just like if I was in a wreck as a kid and I can remember that wreck, I'm traumatized by that experience. Right. People that are molested are traumatized by that experience. Something they're traumatized by it. It just means that you're psychologically you fucked up by the experience that happened. And it causes a certain type of emotion in you that kind of makes you I won't say shut down or timid, but it's a fear thing. Some people do shut down. Some people go wild. Some people cry. Some people have all types of different releases and ways to let go of their trauma.
Okay. So you're telling me her seeing the house shoe is scarring her?
Yeah, because she knows she's going to get her ass whooped when she sees it. When she gets older, if she sees a house shoe or somebody raising a house shoe, she'll be able to go right back to when she was having those things. Kind of like a battered woman. They think everybody, when they always do like that, because the first nigga beat them and they think everybody else is going to hit them, they're traumatized from the one person that was beating their ass.
And see, for me, it's not a repetitive thing. It's not a consistent thing because she doesn't get in trouble like that. But I will, when I pull that shoe, she know granny means some business, even if I'm not going to use that shoe. So my thing is, just like you got rules in place that you say your children got to obey, and if they don't, you put them on a punishment. So that shoe for me is my way to say, hey, you done went too far, I'm going to get my shoe. And if I never pull it off, she know granny getting that shoe, I better get my ass in line. So to me, you have to have some form of something in place for children to know that I've crossed the boundary line. You cannot just let them do what the fuck they want to do without consequences and repercussions.
I agree. I just don't agree that it has to be an ass whooping or spanking or beating or whipping or tapping. I just don't think that physical punishment has to be done. I ain't saying people can do it. I just want people to realize that it's assault and it's traumatic. If it wasn't assault, these people wouldn't be getting locked up for beating their kids' ass. And like with that story that just happened, it was 2 more stories of women that had whooped their kids and they were arrested for assault. Or either it was some form of assault. And there's a baseball player, he got a teen daughter. He carried her upstairs, threw her on the bed, and smacked her across her knees. He was locked up for assault. So parents need to realize you can whoop
Adrian Peterson face charges for whooping his child with a switch.
Yeah. And that's what people need to realize. You can do it, but you can be arrested for assault as well. And it also, like I said, it's traumatic. It causes trauma, and it's the first form of assault that your child ever witnesses. Your child has never been hit by anybody in life, and you get them a whooping. You're the first person that's ever physically assaulted them. And again,
I'm laughing because to me, I feel like that's a bit extreme, but it's the law. But just because it's the law doesn't mean it's right.
Well, not even the law. I mean, it is what it is. You're the first person that ever assaulted or hit your kid. Whatever word you want to put there, you're the first person to ever inflict bodily harm on that child. We take the word assault out and just say,
well, to me, the word bodily harm, when I hear bodily harm, that means I left a mark, I left a bruise, I broke an arm, I bust a head. That's what I feel like bodily harm is. I don't think a little house shoe or a little strap across the ass is giving them bodily harm. Now, it may cause some emotional distress, yes, but it's gonna let them know how far to go.
I see we're gonna have to start using definitions around this mug.
Go ahead.
Bodily harm. Oh, that doesn't say shit. I'm listening.
I'm just saying, go ahead with your definition of bodily harm. I said, when I think of bodily harm, I think that my body has been harmed, not just a tap on the ass. I'm talking about I got a scar. I need a Band-Aid, I need some alcohol.
We got to get to a place, and saying we isn't because black people say, I freaking encounter this with black people all the time. You say a word that they deem bad, and all of a sudden, they don't want to hear it. We put our own we put our own meanings to words, and it's
But
just not
me and
right.
you are talking. You're talking directly to me. I can't speak on everybody's household as a whole. I'm giving you Jerisha.
I know,
I'm
and
not
you
trying to
just got,
speak for all
and you
blacks.
just,
I'm speaking
and
of
you,
how I parented. Good or
I
bad,
know,
I did the best. I knew how. Shit.
I know. I'm saying that's fine. We talking about bodily harm, and you didn't give me the definition of bodily harm. You gave me what you interpret bodily
Oh, you
harm
want
to
me to
be.
look up bodily harm? Okay. I said when I hear. I
I'm
said when I
looking it
hear
up,
bodily
but
harm. But
I'm looking it
you.
up. But
I said when
this,
I hear bodily harm, that's what I think about. Yeah, that's what I
but
think about.
which I know when you think about it, it kind of justifies in your mind a way to say, well, no, I really ain't bodily harming my kid, because in my mind, but that's not actually what the definition means.
Well, give it to me, scholar.
This the one I found says is a legal term of art, which that's not what I'm looking for. So that's why I said that there is not helping at all. Let's see, then that motherfucker talking about Australia or something there.
Okay, let me
It
see
says
what
physical
Google's gonna
trauma.
tell me.
Well, I looked up physical trauma, since bodily harm didn't pop up. Physical trauma is a serious injury to the body, blunt force and penetrating. Surgery can cause physical trauma, sometimes called a control injury. Psychological trauma is emotional or psychological
Because we
injury.
need to see what they say about bodily harm. What's bodily harm? What's considered bodily harm?
Right, because everybody has their own interpretation
And
of
we
shit.
do. We really do. And that don't mean we right about it. That's just what we got to go off of. Because I haven't looked up what does the word bodily harm mean for me. It means that something been broke on my ass. You know what I'm saying? It says
And that's all I was saying. That's all I was saying. Though I was saying we assign, we don't do it on purpose. We subconsciously, like, if we think we're right in doing something, we'll take a word or definition and make it fit whatever it is that we're doing to justify. That's why I said
okay,
us.
let me read you what I got. Let
Go
me
ahead.
read you what I got. And see, they don't even have, when they say, they always put the term serious. See, because bodily harm, they say, generally speaking, serious bodily harm is defined as injury that seriously interferes with the person's health or comfort. Notice the word seriously, because this is the only definition I found. Seriously bodily harm. And it says some examples of serious bodily harm may include paralysis, loss of limb, loss of functioning in the limb, and broken bones. So when we think of bodily harm, we think of the serious bodily harm. We don't even think of, because I don't even see a definition for simple bodily harm.
You see that I just pulled, damn, I don't know if I can get it. I just found a definition from Black Law. Can you see that?
Yeah, any touching of the person against his will with physical force is okay, hostile and aggressive manner or projecting of such force against his person. Okay, okay. I could get okay.
And that's another thing that people get me with. What the fuck? I forgot. I lost my train of thought right there.
Okay,
Oh,
so
people like back in the day, they used to be like, you shouldn't whoop your kid when you're mad, but like technically everyone is mad when they whoop their kid's ass, because they whoop them at the time that they've done something. Nobody says, oh, you just disobeyed me or you did this, let me wait a couple hours and whoop your ass. Nobody does that. You whoop your kid right then. You're cussing, you're hollering, all that. I've never had a calm ass whooping where my mom talked to me about what it was that I did wrong as she was whooping my ass in a soft voice like this.
I need to bring my children on here because they can tell you that mama did that. I was evangelist in the church. And if they acted up at church and I told them I was going to spank them when we got home, well, it could have been a 5-hour revival. But when we got home, they got the spanking and I told them why they got that spanking. And I wasn't angry. I just wasn't going to be made a lie either, because they needed that consistency to know if I act up in public and mama says she going to spank me, or daddy said I'm getting a spanking, well, we're going to get that spanking. And actually, me and my husband tried different things. They used to write the dictionary. The children had to learn Bible verse. I mean, we tried different forms of discipline for the children. And one form that they told us they hated the most was standing in the corner with their finger pointed on the wall with their leg up. They said they hated that.
See, I agree with that type of punishment. I've done it. Like I said, I do physical shit with my kids without me hitting them.
But they hated. They said that was the worst thing we could have done. It was to let them stand there for 30 minutes or hours.
Or stand there. We used to have to stand with our hands out with some books on them.
Right, with the books. They held the books.
Those are the type alternative parenting that we need, instead of just automatically on the ass whooping.
I don't agree with whooping when you're angry, because sometimes you can go too far. And that's when you can pierce the skin and all of that. So no, as I grew and learned better, no, I don't agree with spanking them when you're mad. I can smile just like this at a child and tell them, look, well, I said don't do it. Now you do it again, then we're gonna have some problems. And they listen.
When the belt come out, though, you turn to the hold on.
I don't pull the belt no more. I don't have to pull the belt.
I'm talking about where you used to. We used to.
Oh, hell yeah, I whooped them so they would never have to get a nothing. Every whooping was you don't want another one. Yeah, when I was back then, it was on your ass I went, because you ain't gonna want to feel no more. And you know, that's what I was taught. That's what happened to me. And that's how I parented them. And that's why my son that's 25, he'll tell me, they didn't get the whoopings I got. No, they didn't, son. And that's why I went back and apologized to my son when he was 12 and told him, Mama, apologize for that kind of beating and whooping and spanking, because I didn't know any better, because that's what happened to me. But I see now that wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? At 3 or 4 years old, I gave him whoopings, damn it, to make him not want another one, but he didn't act out. He was my best child in school. Outside of, you know, well, I ain't gonna say the best, because I had another one that didn't do much or nothing. But he had a mouth on him, and I knew that mouth came from mama. So sometimes when he gets verbal, I had to look at, well, bitch, look at you. You know what I'm saying? So I had to understand and teach him appropriate way to talk to me. We can talk, you can express yourself. People have told me that I let my children be too verbal. And I'm like, what you mean too verbal? I want them to talk to me. I want them to express what has happened. And I want them to know that at the end of the day, you got consequences and repercussions for going against what we said we was gonna do. So that's why I put the contract in place after the state said, you can't spike and whoop and do this, you know, call us if your mama do this. So I put a contract in place with my children, and they knew if I violate this contract, then I'm not going on a school field trip, or I can't go on a church trip. Oh, I'm not going to the movies. I'm not getting a cell phone. I'm not going to the beauty shop. So, but when you send your daughter out with her hair nappy, then people want to talk about that too. Oh, she's sent out with nappy hair. Well, bitch, I ain't finna pay $50, $60 a week for her to get her hair done if she going to school acting a fool. So at what point do we as parents stop being judged for the way we parent? Because I just said to say, fuck you, I'm going to do what I got to do for my household to run and for my children to still be productive and respectful.
Yes, the judgment will never stop, because nobody can agree on the issue. But I think if more people realize that it's traumatizing and it's assault, that it would kind of go away. Remember, we used to laugh at white people all the goddamn time for how they discipline their kids. Tommy, you're getting a timeout. Tommy,
yeah.
they turn out just fine. Oh, you got your head on the leash, blah, blah, blah. They turn out just fine. Of course, there's always anomalies. Of course, there's always anomalies where kids are gonna fuck up and do what they do. But for the most part, like if you talk to your kids, most of the times they will reciprocate and they understand. Just like you said, you had to give your kids a contract. They probably didn't have that many issues out of them anymore. Like, so people that say your kids are too verbal, those are just people that they just, I don't want to say they're idiots. They're under the mind frame that my kid is my property. I actually saw a couple people say that the other day. They were like, their kids were their property. I'm like, so if your kid is your property, that means you can abuse them, beat them, and neglect them as you see fit. How are you any different than a slave master? You consider your kid your property, not their own individual, your property. That's fucked up thinking.
Well, that thinking comes because as soon as a juvenile get in trouble, they come after the parent. Just like the children that was going to the movie theaters and fighting and having all these kind of what is it? They was all together. They was having all the fights and stuff, putting it on Facebook. We're gonna meet up at the movies and everybody gonna come together and fight. Okay, so everybody like, well, where were the parents? So when your children do stuff like at the Wolf Chase Mall, children running through there fighting. So my thing is, it's gonna come back to the parent. So by law, they're going to blame the parent for sending a child to the mall unattended. But at some ages, you do supposed to be able to let your child go shop and know they could be social with friends and not have to carry on like monkeys.
They don't blame them per se. They just hold them accountable. Like, why are you dropping your kid off attended? But the kids
they blame the parents too.
Yeah, they did. The parents don't get charged with assault and public nuisance and all that other shit. The kids do. The parents got to go down there with them because they're a juvenile, but the kids actually get the fucking charge. We just look at the parents. We look at the parents because we like, you know, your kid was bad in the motherfucker before you dropped them off at the mall. This nigga didn't just wake up one day and start acting bad. You know your kid is a crime kid, and you dropping them off to be a menace in the general public. That's what they hold the parents responsible for now.
Some parents don't know because you got some children that's good on paper, good at home, and go out with their friends and be a whole nother person. Just like as girls, we wore our little long skirts and dresses at home, but when we went out with our friends, here come the makeup, the hair done a different way, and the short skirts. So you cannot say that every parent know that they raising motherfucking children.
When did I say every?
No, you said we know. You did. You said we know.
It still doesn't mean every though. But that didn't mean if I don't say
you said no. You said they know.
If I don't say all or every, no, I'm making a generalization about the majority. Of course, with anything, there's always going to be an anomaly or minority. So that's why I don't ever use the words all or every. Because I know there are certain ones different, but for it's more parents that know their kids and what they do than there are that don't. Of course, there's some sneaky kids, but that doesn't mean that parents don't know. You know if your kid's sneaky or not. If you're an involved parent, you know if your kid is sneaky or not. Involved parents check shit. Involved parents want to know who you're going with, where you're going to be at what time. Call me, check in. You can't go out like this. You can't go out like that. What you need a backpack for? Yes, I'm just at the point where I don't like to give people excuses. It's cut and dry with me. It's black and white. Of course, like I said, I know there's anomalies. I know it's some sneaky kids, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about the majority of the people that do shit. Just like the majority of parents whoop their kids' ass, but we can't prove that it's effective.
We can't prove that it ain't been either, because every child is different at the end of the day and requires something different.
I said that earlier. I said I can't. There's no stats or figures that say kids that get their ass whoopings turn out better than kids that don't. I said, but I can prove that it's traumatic and it's assault. That's it. That's about it.
Right.
That's about all that can be proven.
And back to what you were saying as far as the parents that know, that's proactive and know, you check the stuff. I agree with that. You should check, because there's no way my 15-year-old could come in with a backpack full of money and I'm not going to ask him where the fuck he got it from. There's no way my 15-year-old son could come in my house with some J's that I didn't buy and put there. There's no way you can come in here and say, Mom, I'm finna pay the light bill. Unless you working at McDonald's or got a job on, an actual job then you're not gonna bring your dirty money in my house, because I grew up in an era where we was having money, and I know goddamn 9 times out of 10 your ass doing something else to get this money. It's some kids that be at school shooting dice and they come up with a couple of dollars, but I'm talking about these children that's having $500, $600, $700, $800 every other day, bringing it home, and you be okay with that. I have an issue with that, because when they go out here, if they robbing people, then something happened to your baby. How can you say somebody's wrong for putting a bullet in your baby and defending their shit because your son or daughter out here want to rob them?
Clap, clap, clap. We condone bullshit. We know these motherfuckers bad.
So at the end of the day, you got to be up in your children's shit. Technology will make them think life is so simple and easy because they seeing a video of a motherfucker flashing money. You know what I'm saying? They see these TV shows, the video games and shit make them feel like shit is real life. And we have to be that first influence. We're not going to be the only influence, but we should be that first influence to say, little Johnny, where the fuck this money come from?
Right.
Because you not working. So who the fuck giving you $500 just to be giving you $500?
Yeah, we don't even do simple shit like check our kids' browser history. We'll give them a phone or a laptop or computer and don't even check that motherfucker. What are you looking up? What you into?
I had a password on my computer and on the Xbox. My children couldn't go on certain browsers because it has been incidents of things. I was one of them mothers that I had been molested before, and I used to watch porn as a little girl. I used to steal the Playboy magazine. I did all this shit. So once I knew that my children was getting into this type of shit, then I had to put a block on my browser, or put parental control. Even on my TV, on my cable. My room was the only room that they could watch certain things, and it had to be approved still with me. And we watched it together, scary movies and stuff like that, R-rated and NC-17 and stuff like that. I made them do age-appropriate things, but at the same time, there's that middle ground where you got children like me. I found a way to do my fuck shit because they're gonna do it. So you still should be that first teacher, and don't let the world raise them. Teach them what you need them to know to be responsible out here, because they're gonna start engaging in sexual behavior, and you want them to know the right ways to engage. So you should be their first influence. Have the tough conversations. Get in that backpack and see what the fuck they taking at your house. Because it's been little kids in kindergartens with knives and guns.
My kindergarten, I hate saying this because I was not around at the time, but my son in kindergarten took some liquor to his school and it was found in his backpack. They didn't tell me because at the time his grandma was an alcoholic and his mama was young and really didn't give a fuck. So they didn't tell me. But when I found this out, I didn't find out till the boy got in 4th grade and I got ready to register him at Snowden, and they wanted to talk to me about shit that was on his record already. Like,
damn. Wait a minute. So did he get kicked out of school for the alcohol? What happened in this situation?
He got a suspension. As far as I know, he got a suspension for it. And another time he was at it. Then in 1st grade at Valentine, he was diagnosed with ADHD, some shit that I fought his whole fucking life. And we had that talk and I got him off that shit. But he took his medicine to school and somehow it was in his backpack and he was playing with it or whatever, and he got suspended for that, for having a controlled substance and shit at school. So it's a lot of shit that, like, simple being a concerned parent, a lot of shit can be avoided because there's no way that I'm not checking if I'm checking my kindergarten's backpack for homework and shit, then I would see stuff like alcohol in there. If I'm a responsible adult and a parent, I'm going to make sure that my kids, grandkids aren't around liquor. It's simple shit that we can do as parents to make our kids avoid a lot of pitfalls that we choose not to do.
Some parents get the bags ready at night. So because they're getting them ready at night, they don't do a recheck in the morning. So with my daughter, and I appreciate that she does this, is she get up in the morning time and look back through Victoria backpack. And I'm glad she does that because you never know. She done had toys that she didn't supposed to take to school and we found them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad she does that extra check, and I applaud her for doing it because children do sneak. And if they see the liquor bottle sitting around, they gonna take one. If they see us drinking, I ain't gonna say I don't drink while she around. I'll be lying, cause I'ma have my vodka, I'ma have my beer. But she know this is an adult drink, and I don't supposed to touch this, you know. But I'm not gonna leave it in her reach either.
Exactly.
Especially if it's open.
And then
I'm not
get
gonna
mad
leave
at
it
the
where she
kid.
can get it. That's just
And
like with
then
cleaning products. You don't leave your cleaning products where your small kids can get them either.
get mad when they get into the shit. Like, we're not gonna hold the adult responsible at all.
No, we gotta take responsibility for the parts that we play in our, like I told my son the other day, I said, just because I'm your mother, that don't mean I'm always right. That don't mean what I say is golden. That don't mean do everything I say do. Because now you're an adult. You know what I'm saying? You're grown. I can give you my opinion, but just because I'm mama, that don't mean my word is gold.
Right.
I could be like we talk about toxic parents. I could be a toxic mother. I could be a fucked up ass mother. I could be telling you just going off my emotional feelings on a subject, but that don't mean it's a good fit for his life at 25. But until they become legal adults and able to make those decisions for themselves, then I feel like parents should be active in their lives and have enough authority to say no you can't or yes you can, and when you fuck up I'm going to discipline you in the way I see fit, the way I see fit, because I'm legally responsible for you.
This phone is about to die. You want to come back with part 2 talking about the T.I. controversy, or you want to wait? We want to do?
We can come back with it. I guess you want to come back with that one tomorrow since I got to get some writing done, or you want to
It's
switch
so
phones? It's up to you.
It's I could switch phones. I could do both of them, either or. But again, let them know where they can find you and your great books and your material. Do you still have your Christmas book?
I do. It's not on. It's
You
not
got the
on a
free
giveaway
download?
download. No, that was only for 5 days. I can only do one title every 90 days that I give away.
Okay.
So I chose to do the Christmas book first, so because it was coming up to holiday time. But
Hold
I think
it back up. Hold it back up.
Amazon is it y'all can they see it?
No, push it up some. Push it up to the camera. To the left. Move to there you go. Okay.
This is a funny spoof on all your things Christmas with a sexy twist, and you will find candy canes and mistletoes in some strange places. And you can find them at amazon.com/author/Rebe. And they have it on sale now for $9.72. It's a $40 book because it has colored pages, but it's everything Christmas with a sexy twist. So
where can I find mistletoe at? You say I can find mistletoe in what in strange places?
In some strange places, candy canes and mistletoe in some strange places.
All right, y'all. This phone is about to cut off. This has been a great discussion with Authoress Rebe Bedford. I'm MoneyBoy Tr3y. This was an episode of My Art Perspective. You want to look me up, just type MoneyBoy Tr3y in any social media that you have, and you can find me. Like, share, comment, all that good shit. Let us know what you think. We'll be back tomorrow with another topic.
Right. Holla.
Oh, I ended it just right.